All right, so let's dive into um, this whole concept of like the Matrix, right?
Right.
A lot of people are interested in it, but they want to kind of go a little deeper than like the sci-fi film version,
Right.
right? See how it kind of plays out in our everyday lives.
Yeah.
All these like invisible forces that we're kind of maybe, uh, you know,
Mm.
not even really seeing clearly, right?
Yeah.
And then this whole thing about like psychedelics, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily as an escape, but maybe like as a tool to kind of see beyond some of those
Hmm.
limitations, right?
Yeah.
We've got some interesting material to work with for this deep dive.
It is interesting how that term, the matrix, has
Yeah,
like really resonated with so many people, right?
yeah,
Even though most of us aren't plugged into some kind of virtual world, right?
right.
It just sort of captures that feeling of being kind of caught up in a system that's kind of subtly shaping our thoughts and behaviors.
Yeah, yeah. It's like we're kind of on autopilot, just following like a pre-programmed script almost. I remember reading this article once about how deeply ingrained like consumerism is in all of us.
Oh yeah.
And it was talking about how we're constantly bombarded with all these messages that tell us, happiness is about buying the latest gadgets and the perfect outfit and the bigger house.
Right.
But deep down, we know that's not really true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect example of how the matrix operates, right? It kind of plays on our innate desires for, belonging and security and status, but then like cleverly redirects those desires towards these external markers of success, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we end up chasing this mirage of happiness instead of connecting with what truly fulfills us.
Right, right, yeah. And it's not just about consumerism though, right?
Yeah.
It's like woven into all these our social norms, cultural beliefs, even like our economic systems.
Absolutely. It's really this complex web of influences that can be pretty difficult to disentangle, right?
Yeah.
Think about the pressure to follow a conventional career path, right?
Hmm.
Even if it doesn't align with your passions, or the inherited beliefs and ideologies that we just kind of accept without question simply because, they're part of our cultural background.
It's like we're handed this set of rules at birth.
Hmm.
And most of us never stop to question whether those rules actually serve us, aren't
That's exactly it. And that's where, the potential of psychedelics kind of comes in, right?
they?
They're not, a magic solution or anything,
Right.
but they can offer a really powerful lens for examining these ingrained patterns.
I'm curious about that. It almost seems like counterintuitive. That's something that is often seen as recreational could have such profound implications.
It is kind of counterintuitive, but it's because psychedelics when they're used intentionally can really disrupt that habitual thinking.
Yeah.
Imagine like shaking up a snow globe, right?
Hmm.
That's kind of what psychedelics can do to our ingrained beliefs and our conditioned responses.
So it's not about escaping reality, but rather seeing it more clearly.
Precisely. And different psychedelics work in different ways, right?
Hmm.
So, some like microdosing with LSD, you know, that's said to enhance focus and creativity,
Hmm.
potentially helping us break free from that mental clutter of information overload.
Hmm.
Others, like ayahuasca, when it's used in a ceremonial setting, that often leads to these really profound introspection, potentially helping us to kind of confront, some of these deeply ingrained social conditioning or some of these limiting beliefs.
Hmm. It's almost like each type of psychedelic
Mm.
offers a different key for unlocking a different part of the matrix, right?
That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And by shaking things up, these experiences can help us see how much of our behavior is really driven by external influences rather than our authentic selves.
So it's about peeling back those layers of conditioning and
Really, yeah.
reconnecting with our true nature, right?
Exactly. People often describe feeling this really profound sense of unity and interconnectedness during these psychedelic journeys, right?
Mm.
A feeling of oneness with everything, right?
Right.
And this can lead to this much deeper understanding of oneself, separate from the roles
Mhm.
and the expectations that society kind of places upon us.
It makes you. I mean, that's powerful. It makes you wonder how differently we would make decisions if we were all operating from that place of authentic connection.
Yeah, that's a question definitely worth exploring further, right?
Yeah.
Because if we can start to see the matrix not as this abstract concept, but as this,
Yeah.
this tangible force that's shaping our lives, then maybe we can start to make more conscious choices about how we navigate it, right?
Yeah. But wouldn't that, I mean, wouldn't seeing the matrix that clearly make it like impossible to function in society? I mean, how can you operate within a system that you're simultaneously questioning?
I mean it's a valid concern, right? But seeing the matrix, that doesn't mean like rejecting society altogether. It's about understanding the forces that are at play and choosing how you engage with them. It's about recognizing the difference between the scripts that you're handed, right?
Right.
And the story that you actually want to write for yourself.
That resonates with me. It's like, we're all actors on this stage, but we don't have to follow the director's cues blindly, right? We can improvise, we can create our own dialogue, we can even like rewrite the entire play if we want to.
Exactly. And the insights that are gained, through psychedelic experiences or even, through deep introspection and critical thinking, right?
Mm.
Those can provide the courage and the clarity to do just that.
So how do we even like start making those conscious choices?
Right.
It feels like this, the matrix is so pervasive. It's hard to know where to even like begin, you
Like
know?
it can be daunting, but remember, like awareness is that first step, right?
Okay.
Once you start to see the strings, you can't unsee them.
Right.
It's like becoming aware of your own breath.
Mhm.
You were breathing all along, but now you're conscious of it.
Right. But how do we move beyond just seeing the strings
Yeah.
to like actually cutting them?
Yeah, well, the material that we have for this deep dive, it points to critical thinking as
Yeah.
that key tool. Right? It's about questioning the narratives that we're constantly being bombarded with, whether it's from the media or advertising, or even well-meaning friends and family, right?
Yeah.
It's about asking ourselves, like, does this belief serve me? Does this product actually bring me joy?
Mhm.
Does this path align with my values?
It sounds like developing like a healthy skepticism is crucial. Not to become, cynical or distrusting or anything,
Oh.
but just to be discerning
Yeah.
about what we allow to influence us, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just about, external influences, right?
Right.
We also have to be willing to question our own internal programming,
Mm.
those deep-seated beliefs and patterns that we've either inherited or developed over
It's
time.
like it's like doing a mental inventory,
Yeah.
and asking like what's serving me and what's holding me back.
Mhm.
Is this belief truly mine, or is this something that I've, unconsciously adopted?
Exactly. And the more we question,
Yeah.
the more we free ourselves from the matrix's grip. This doesn't mean we have to, become hermits or reject society entirely. We can still participate, but with this newfound, awareness and intentionality.
You mentioned the importance of finding authentic communities, right?
Right.
How does that like play into navigating beyond the matrix?
Yeah. The matrix, it thrives on isolation.
Hmm.
It's easier to control individuals when they're disconnected from one another, right?
Yeah.
But when we find our tribe, people who share our values and support our growth, we become much more resilient to the
Mm.
matrix's influence, right?
Right.
We can challenge each other's assumptions, hold each other accountable, and create a space where authenticity is celebrated.
It's like building a support system for our journey of awakening, right?
Right.
A network of individuals who are also committed to seeing beyond the illusions
Yeah.
and living more intentionally.
Exactly. And these communities, they can exist in many forms, right? They can
Yeah.
be online forums, local meetups, or even just as a small circle of friends who are on a similar path. The key is to find people who inspire you to question and to grow and to step into your authentic self.
This reminds me of a time when I felt really stuck in a job that just wasn't fulfilling,
Mm.
and I was afraid to make a change, even though it was pretty clear that I wasn't on the right path. And then I connected with this group of of entrepreneurs who were so passionate about their work,
Mm.
and they really encouraged me to pursue my own dreams.
Mm.
And it was that community that gave me the courage to finally take the leap.
That's a perfect example of the power of community, right?
Yeah.
It's not always about having all the answers, but it's about being surrounded by people who support your journey of self-discovery.
Speaking of self-discovery, we've talked a lot about the potential of psychedelics to help us see the matrix. But what about like integrating those insights back into everyday life?
Right.
How do we avoid slipping back into those old patterns once the experience is over?
Yeah, that's a critical point, right?
Yeah.
The insights that are gained, through psychedelics or any profound experience, those really need to be nurtured and integrated if they're going to have a lasting impact.
Mm-hmm.
It's like planting a seed, right?
Right.
It needs water and sunlight and nourishment to grow.
So how do we water those seeds of insight? What practical steps can we take to kind of ensure that those experiences actually translate into real change?
Yeah, the material we're looking at for this deep dive, it emphasizes several key practices, right?
Mm.
Journaling can be a really powerful tool for processing the experience and uncovering some of those recurring themes. Mindfulness meditation
Okay.
that can help us to stay present and aware of those subtle patterns that we're trying to shift.
Right.
And then engaging in creative expression, whether it's through art or music or writing, that can help us to channel those insights into tangible forms.
It sounds like it's about creating a lifestyle that supports like continued growth and self-awareness,
Yeah.
not just, a one-time experience.
Exactly. Navigating beyond the matrix, it's a journey, not a destination. It's about ongoing self-exploration, continuous learning, and a commitment to living in alignment with our values, even when it's challenging.
It also sounds like this journey requires a certain level of self-compassion. We're all bound to stumble and fall back into old patterns at times.
Oh, absolutely. There will be moments when we get caught up in the matrix's allure, when we revert to old habits, when we forget what truly matters, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. The key is to notice those moments without judgment and gently guide ourselves back to the path.
It's like learning a new language.
Well,
We're
yeah.
we're bound to make mistakes along the way, but with practice and patience, we can become fluent in the language of authenticity.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
And as we become more fluent, we can start to communicate our truth more clearly, not just to ourselves, but to the world around us.
So it's not just about like personal transformation,
Hmm.
but potentially about contributing to a larger shift in,
Yeah.
in consciousness,
Mhm.
right?
Precisely. The more individuals who awaken to the matrix and choose to live authentically, the more we collectively shift the paradigm. It's like a ripple effect, right?
Mhm.
Spreading outwards from individual transformation to collective evolution.
That's an inspiring thought. It gives me hope that even small individual actions can contribute to something much larger than ourselves.
And remember, you don't have to have all the answers or figure everything out,
Yeah.
overnight. The journey itself is the reward. It's about embracing the process of discovery, the
Mhm.
joy of learning, and the freedom that comes from choosing your own path.
Yeah, it's almost like we've been handed this treasure map, right?
Right.
And now we're kind of setting out on this adventure to discover all these riches that are kind of hidden within ourselves.
That's a fantastic way to put it. And the best part is that this treasure, it's available to everyone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about, having some special abilities or achieving some extraordinary state of enlightenment or anything like that. It's about tapping into that potential that already exists within each of us.
This whole conversation has been like incredibly mind expanding.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, there's still a part of me that wonders, like, is it even really possible to fully escape the matrix?
Right.
Or are we always going to be kind of influenced by these systems and structures that surround us, you know?
It's an important question, and one that, philosophers and thinkers have grappled with for centuries. The material that we've been exploring for this deep dive, it suggests that complete detachment from the matrix may not be realistic or even desirable after all. We're social creatures. We thrive on connection and interdependence.
So it's more about like finding a balance,
Right.
right? Between awareness and engagement, between individual freedom and collective responsibility.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious of the matrix's influence without being consumed by it, right?
Right, right.
It's about choosing to play the game, but on our own terms. It's
Right.
about recognizing that we actually have the power to shape our reality,
Yeah.
even within the constraints of the system.
This reminds me of a quote I read recently. It said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." And it seems to apply perfectly to this whole idea of navigating beyond the matrix.
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership of our choices, our actions, our creations. It's about recognizing that we're not just passive recipients of reality, but active participants in its unfolding.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm,
what final thoughts would you like to leave our listener with?
okay.
What key takeaways should they kind of carry with them as they continue to explore these ideas?
Well, remember, this is just the beginning of the exploration, right?
Yeah.
We've barely even scratched the surface of this vast and fascinating topic.
It's like we've opened a door to this whole new world of possibilities.
Exactly. So, continue to question, to learn, to explore, seek out diverse perspectives, engage in thoughtful discussions, and trust your own intuition. And remember, the most important journey is the one that we take within ourselves.
Hmm. That's a beautiful reminder. It's been an incredible deep dive. Thank you for sharing your insights and expertise with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And to you, dear listener, we encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating topic. Remember, the matrix is all around us, but it doesn't have to define us, right? We have the power to choose awareness, to create our own reality, and to live a life that is truly authentic and meaningful. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and never stop diving deep.